This is way easier than learning to add and subtract signed values. And when we take a value, let's say we take two positive numbers, 2 times 3, we get a positive 6. That's one that we know. That's what we've been doing all along. But we have these other three combinations where we have a negative times a positive, positive times a negative, and then a negative times a negative that we have to learn to understand. And so we're going to look at this multiplying integers sheet. This is a sheet my wife came up with a few years ago to help students understand and remember the values for multiplying integers. If you look at your sheet, the first row, see the guy smiling? Yeah. He's a happy guy. He's a positive type guy. He's a happy guy. He's a good guy. We call him a good guy. And you can see his body is made of a plus sign. Then there's a sign that says, welcome to our town. We usually think of people moving to our town and our population increasing and getting bigger as being a good thing. So we have when you take a positive number, and notice in the corner of that sign real quick, sorry. If you look at the top left of that sign, there's a plus sign there. Okay? So we're taking a positive times a positive, which we know is going to be a positive. But if we use this idea, it's going to be a good guy coming to town. If you just take a good guy coming to town idea, is that a good thing or a bad thing? That's a good thing. So that's a positive thing. The result of that is a positive. Okay? So that's what we have here. Now if I were to take 2 times negative 3, let's see what we're going to get. Let's go through our chart here, or our little explanation. You have a good guy. This time, the negative, or the sign, you can see the negative sign is what's holding the banner on that, is the individual's leaving town. We don't want people to leave, generally speaking. We want, and in this case, if we have a good guy leave town, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Bad thing.
That's thought of as a bad thing. So that's a negative result. To multiply, we're just going to take your 2 times 3, and that's 6. But when we have a good guy leaving town, that's a bad thing. That's a negative. Okay? Now I'm going to take a negative times a positive. Well, now we're changing our character. You can see the cranky old bad guy has a bandana on that represents the negative. If we have a bad guy come to our town, is that a good thing or a bad thing? That's a bad thing, isn't it? That's a negative. So this is a bad guy coming to town. That would be a negative 6 also. And our last situation is when they're both negative.
That's just negative.
If you have a bad guy leave town,
That's a good thing, isn't it?
that's a good thing, isn't it? We want the bad guys to leave town. And so, well, yeah. Generally speaking, we want bad guys to leave town. If I'm thinking of a country, the old Western movies, guy coming in on black all tough, and when he
Like
leaves
Young
town,
Guns?
everybody's happy, like Young Guns. Yeah, right. Or Blazing Saddles, something of that sort. All right. So this sheet, and I do want you to keep it. It can help you if you have difficulty remembering. Really, if you look at this, what's the pattern?
6, negative 6, negative 6, 6.
Okay, the results are 6, negative 6, negative 6, 6. But what's the, how can we derive those answers from this?
Positive, positive, negative, negative, positive. What? Like, I don't know.
Are the signs the same on our first one when we're multiplying?
Yeah,
2 positives. What did we get?
positive.
Look at the bottom. Are the signs the same on the bottom?
Yeah,
What do you get? A
positive.
positive. So when you're multiplying 2 numbers whose signs are the same, you're going to get a positive result. When you multiply 2 numbers whose signs are different, you get a negative result.
That's easy.
So you can use either idea to help you to remember I will ask you this, if you come to my desk and say, okay, I've got negative times a positive, I'm gonna get, what is that? That's a bad guy coming to town. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? That's not gonna answer. That's a bad thing. So that's a negative result. Okay. And there's quite a bit of this on the state assessment, so you do need to, we're only gonna have a couple weeks of this before we get to the state assessment for you, so make sure that you're comfortable with it.
When's our state assessment?
April 1st and 3rd.
Correct.
Are we gonna still do math lessons after this?
Oh yeah, because we still have high school coming up next year. And you're gonna be going into Algebra 1, and we've got some problems later in this book that we have to get to so that you're at least familiar with. That's why it's called PreAlgebra, so you're ready to go to algebra. So if we don't get to it, then I look like a terrible teacher and we have trouble.
What is algebra 3?
It's just taking algebra a step farther than algebra 2.
Is it really hard?
I don't know.
Like tall.
Because Katie has to teach that this year.
Miss Chance.
Or next year. She said it's really hard.
Katie.
My stepmom.
Oh, okay. I met her officially.
That one night.
All right, example 81-2 on the top of page 255. It's just A, B, C, and D, but it's in division. It's a division problem, and division problems are the exact same rule as multiplication. So Shay, you have your book open to there, or you just listen? The problem is 8 divided by 2. Can you do 8 divided by 2 in your head? 4. It's a positive 4. Dakota.
Yeah.
B is negative 8 divided by a negative 2.
That's just gonna be 4.
It's going to be a positive 4 because their signs are the same. It's a bad guy leaving town, which is a good thing. C, fish, has 8 divided by negative 2. 8 divided by negative 2, page 255. At the very top. 8 divided by negative 2. Negative 4. Logan, negative 8 on B divided by 2. B, page 255. One back there. Top, very top right corner. Negative 8 divided by positive 2. The value is 4, but it's a negative, so that's a bad guy. 2 is a positive coming to town. Do we want a bad guy to come to town? No, so that makes it a negative 4 on that. Great. No. Yes, that's why it's a positive 4. No, B is positive 4. Look at 81.3 now, near the bottom. I'll write this one on the board. We can also use our idea we learned of lesson or 3 or 4 lessons back that we count up how many negative signs there are in the product. How many negative signs are in this product? 3. So is that going to give you a positive or negative result?
Negative.
It's going to give you a negative result. And then you take 3 times 3
9
times 2
18,
times 4.
36. No.
70 something.
72, I think.
Yeah.
So it'd be a negative 72. Now, could you take negative 3 times negative 3 and make that positive 9, and take positive 9 times negative 2 is negative 18, negative 18 times 4 is negative 72? Yes.
Sure.
But if you have multiple values you're multiplying, then just count up the negative signs so that you can get through that quicker without having to remember the sign as you go through. Okay. All right, your assignment. And Lainey, I need you to tell Delaney this,
Okay.
if
I can
you
write it
would.
on the back of the paper.
We're going to do A through
A through K.
J, and those ought to take, is it K? Yeah, let's do, because K is just asking is it positive or negative. You don't actually have to work it out. So A through K, 1 through 30, due Tuesday.
So how are we supposed to do 1 through 30? On a piece of paper.
Why can't we just like 1 through 20?
You can do another piece of paper, or you can split up your boxes, make number 1, split it into 9 different parts. Or you can grab another piece of paper and just call it good. I'm sorry to so discomfort you.
I think that Thursday though we should not have 1 through 30.
Where's
Watch
the
Tuesday.
movies on Friday? For the end of the 9 weeks.
I don't know.
But then it's kind of just trying to. I better be
That is a
good.
good question. We never did do a true reward, did we?
No.
Because everyone went to the movies on those. I don't know. I haven't seen anything or heard
I
anything.
think we just did that because we got out of school the next
Yeah,
day.
they thought we were gonna have a school person today. I think that's the only reason why we have.
Well, it wasn't doing it because the teachers had some stuff we needed to get, sort of we needed to work on. What?
Are we gonna have school Friday?
Yeah. Go, go.
And it will be a long day.
Alright, get to work. I am about done grading your tests. So if I can get those done and entered in, I will get those back to you this hour. And right now you guys are rocking it.